Welcome to Slow and Steady's podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each week we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Benedict and I'm feeling scattered.
I'm Benedicte. Today is August 2nd. This is episode number 148 and I'm still feeling kind of antsy.
That doesn't sound too good, especially as you're coming out of your vacation, right?
Well, see, it's kind of like that good kind of antsy in the way because we're still semi on vacation since there's no school or daycare or anything like that. But I'm kind of like I want to get going again. I want to have my full week to like do stuff and like do more work, I guess. So it's like a good, but then I can't because there's, people are visiting from America and then, Lillian is still on summer vacation and all of those things are also good and I want to do them, but I'm also like, I just want to sit here by my computer especially now that I'm back home and like with my external computer and my regular setup and kind of like feeling, kind of want to get back to not the grind because I never really grind, but back to doing more stuff, I guess. So it's not too bad. I just hope I can like use the feeling or the energy and actually get stuff done and also enjoy, people and summer, last weeks of summer. Yeah.
I'm kind of done with summer at the moment. Like it's super hot out here.
Oh, we still haven't got like that heat wave kind of, it just like flew past Scandinavia. We got like 2 days where it was like a regular, I guess like a regular German summer or like South German summer. We had like 28 degrees for 2 days. And then now it's like tomorrow, I think they're saying in the morning, it's going to be like 15 degrees. And then like our all-time high tomorrow, it's going to be 23. So.
Okay, yeah, that's something different.
Come to Norway. Come visit.
2 weeks ago, we had like 50 degrees on
50 degrees Celsius?
50 degrees Celsius. In the sun, not in the shade, but still
that
50.
Is insane. Okay. I feel for you. How are you even getting anything done?
I don't know. We're doing a good job of keeping the house coolish. But recently it's a little bit overcast in the last couple of days, at least at night. So it doesn't cool down enough. And I haven't been sleeping well for the last week at least. So we have all the windows open just to get some fresh air into the house. But then it's noisy. And when the sun rises, it's too bright. And I don't know, sleeping like crap recently.
I say, Scandinavia is here on top of Europe, just head on up.
Yeah. I at this moment, I wouldn't mind just like moving out of here to Scandinavia or something where it's not as hot as it is here. So anyways.
Well, enough about the weather. Us Europeans talking about, at least in I don't know if Germans usually do, but like the weather is a big topic in all of Scandinavia. It's like all we talk about, basically, when we meet. It's other like the
go-to topic that everyone has an opinion about, right?
Yes, but I love how like we're in Norwegian, we're like, or maybe not all, but I feel like me and a lot of people like me were like, oh, it's it's too cool, it's too cool, and then we get like 2 days of like actual summer, we're like, oh, that's too warm, and then it's like it's never right. It's
never the perfect temperature. It's like 1 or 2 days a year where it's like super nice.
Actually 28 was good when we were on the ocean, and also we could do our stand-up paddling and swim, and when you're on the ocean you can take a lot more heat than when you're in the city. So I'm really happy we weren't at home for like those days. But we also, like, quick story, we ended our vacation with like the electricity going out in the whole kind of property that we have in Sweden. There's like a boathouse and then there's a house. And that's kind of fine in would have been okay maybe in the city. I'm not like 100% sure how everything is done here, but at the summer house we have this like private water and sewage system that is then connected to the public one, but on the other side of the sound. So we have our own like these like, I don't know what it's called, but like pumps, tanks for this like our personal sewage. So when the electricity goes out, it doesn't work. So we were like, we need to get out of here pretty quick because these tanks are going to fill up. But luckily for me, it was like we were supposed to leave Sunday and we ended up leaving Saturday. So it was a little bit of like a crazy, just like getting out of there and not trying to use too much water and stuff like that. And couldn't, you know, charge anything. We were like running to our neighbors and stuff. But unfortunately, my sister, you know, is supposed to take over now and have like 30 people coming on Saturday. And we still don't know what's wrong because it's not in the house. It's outside somewhere on one of the main lines. So the electrician is supposed to come, but he's on vacation because it's Sweden and they take, you know, their vacation very seriously. And I tried to like, are there no emergency options? But it didn't seem to be any emergency options, especially when you're on an island, outside an island. So my sister is like getting anxious about her party because you can't have 30 people attending a party when you have no sewage system. So that was the end to the vacation. But it was, we're really happy it didn't happen like 2 weeks earlier or, you know, even a week earlier. It was, if something was going to go wrong, it was the perfect time. So that was the end of my summer vacation. Crazy story. There's always something going wrong at the cabin, but
yeah,
I'm home now. So, what else has been up? Or do you want me to go first?
I don't mind. Like, if you have something to talk about right away, you can go, and otherwise, I'll give my updates. It's not that much.
Yeah, because you were saying you're still feeling a little unfocused.
Yeah, very much.
Or scattered.
Like,
what did you say?
I think I said scattered, but yeah, it's just crazy. Too many stuff. Too many requests. People wanting stuff from me. Customers asking for features. Customers asking for integrations. Customer complaining about problems. All of that stuff, and then. Yeah, just like dealing with a lot of small annoyances in the app, trying to solve a couple of problems that are in there for a while now, and that then realizing, okay, this change needs a change over there, which then needs to change over there. And basically digging myself into layers and layers and layers of work. And then always getting pulled out of it because something else is happening and something else needs my attention. It's just super annoying. And I guess like added on top of that is that I'm not sleeping well because it's too hot, and like all of that is just my brain's kind of fried. Yeah, so that's been going on.
And I guess your code base, we talked about that before, but your code base is getting to be pretty mature. So that's when you start getting these issues as well.
It's a lot of code by now. And yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for the last couple of years, like nothing's trivial anymore. And that's not saying, well, who knows, but I don't think our code is bad in a way. Like it's not like the worst code. It's just a super complex system at this point. And yeah, like even small changes can affect a lot of things. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do these days is like, actually, the thing I've been working on today and yesterday was getting the type system working correctly, because it's one of the main annoyances from almost day one is that when you build a filter and it's a date, the system doesn't know it's a date, so it doesn't present you with the right UI elements and stuff like that. And so far, we've been guessing the type based on the name of the property you're checking, but of course that doesn't work. Like everyone comes up with their own naming scheme, and some make sense and some don't make sense at all. So trying to guess the type from the name of the property is kind of the worst thing you can do. And I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. We rolled out a system that the first time we see a property, we infer its type from the value you're sending and then store it in a database. And I recently built a UI that allows you then to edit those types. So if we got it wrong or you got it wrong the first time, you can still change it. So it's not an integer anymore. It's now a date and stuff like that. But the problem is like now getting all that information in all of the parts of the UI that actually need that. For example, our filter builder now has to know about the types and all of that, but it doesn't know about the types until it fetched the type information from the server. So now everything has to be async, which wasn't the case previously because we could just do it at runtime. And it's like, as I said, like it's a huge mess and requires a lot more work than you'd think from the outside. So yeah, that's what's been going on in that part. In other things that I've been tackling recently, and yeah, you could argue maybe it's a distraction, but I'm researching hosting solutions. So in case we have to migrate off of Heroku, which might happen at some point. So we're not entirely unprepared for that date. So I'm learning a lot of stuff about just AWS. I've never used AWS other than as 3 buckets. And now I'm getting myself a little bit more familiar with all of that stuff, and also learning Terraform for infrastructure as code automation, because AWS UI is just horrible. So I'd rather write some code than click around.
I love that somebody's made a product because the UI is horrible. Well, I guess that's a lot of products.
That's a lot of products.
Like that. So it's annoyed with.
And I mean, managing the stuff as code, I think, comes with a lot of other benefits of like having it versioned, and you can. You have a track record, and it's easier to see at one glance what's actually happening, and it's a lot more explicit than setting stuff up in the UI and then a week later trying to find all that stuff again. Like at some point I tried something manually, and then I just wanted to clean up behind myself, like undoing all the changes I made the week before. And it's near impossible because you tend to forget all the parts that you had to make tweaks to. And with Terraform, at least that part's a lot more explicit. And if you tell it to destroy everything, it will just destroy everything. So that's kind of nice.
So now I'm sending you all the AWS memes that I come across because I don't understand them. I understand kind of the sentiment behind some of them, but I've never used AWS. But I just keep sending them to you.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, I'm in the same boat. I haven't really used it myself as well. Like, as I said, like S3 buckets is the only thing I've used in the past. But I felt like I should get more familiar with all of that stuff, because at some point we will outgrow our current requirements and like our current system. And added on top the problems Heroku has been having over the last couple of months, I feel like we should at least think about other solutions. So yeah, doing everything ourselves on top of AWS was one of the things I started investigating. I'm also investigating HashiCorp's Waypoint product, which is like, I don't know, feels like a Heroku-like layer on top of whatever cloud provider you choose. And that's also kind of interesting, but in a way, it already does too much magic in my AWS account. So I, again, don't know what's going on and what, like, was this there before, or is it okay to delete this? Or does Waypoint depend on it and stuff like that? So yeah, at this point, I don't really have a conclusion, but it's a good learning exercise, and it feels good to know a little bit more about that stuff, and feels good to be a little more proficient with setting stuff like that up and seeing how things interact and what's required and what isn't required. And it's also interesting to just reflect on all the things that Heroku just does for you, because I feel like you don't know until you move away and don't get a lot of those things anymore, where you realize, oh, this thing that was trivial before is now actually quite complicated. So just trying to replicate everything is great, of like maybe valuing Heroku even more.
I mean, like, oh, I could do the next price hike. Like, this could maybe be worth it, I guess, if you actually go through and see what you're getting. But I don't know.
Like, either do the next price hike or just be fine with all the problems it has on top of the good things it has. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's anyway. I feel like it's a good learning exercise. It just feels good to get a little bit more familiar with the underpinnings. Just enough to be dangerous. And maybe we'll hire someone for like just the ops stuff, maybe a consultant or something to help us with that. But I guess even for that, it helps to have at least a little bit of familiarity with the parts involved and the things involved, just so you know roughly what's going on and what sounds like a good idea and what doesn't sound like a good idea. So yeah, that's been going on over the last couple of weeks. But again, a lot of it is just a little bit here, a little bit there, and then being pulled away to something else that needs my attention. So overall, it's a little bit annoying. On the other side, the WYSIWYG editor is making progress, even though I've been saying this for the last 8 weeks or so. We checked. It's almost week. I think we're in week 7 right now. But next week will be week 8 that we're working on this. And it feels like we're 90% done, but the last 10% need 90% of the time or something like that. We did some testing with just a team where they tried to break it and provide feedback a couple of weeks ago. And I hope we will be able to share it with people like you and other people who have opinions about stuff, to get some additional testing done. Hopefully this week. Like, we have like 4 small bugs that we need to fix, and then I guess it's ready for another round of feedback. So there's progress, but it's slow and it's kind of annoying at this point. And I think both Leo and me we're done with this. Like, we just want this to end. And I asked him yesterday if he wanted to work on something else for a week or so, just to get something else on your mind. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. I just want this to be done. So let's focus on it, which I feel like is a good sentiment. So that's what we're doing right now. Yeah, that's it overall. Nothing else important is going on top of that, which is already a lot. So it's probably better that way.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I decided that kind of August, since it's been August 1st, on a Monday, I was like, yes, this is the beginning of this kind of work season, even though I complained in the beginning that it won't be full-time because there's lots of other cool things going on. But by the end of the month, Lillian will be back in school. So that's exciting. For me. I think she's loved summer vacation though. We were a little scared that just staying at the cabin for weeks and weeks on end, that she would find that boring, but she absolutely loved it. I loved it as a kid as well, but it's kind of, I don't know, it feels like the sentiment around vacations now are a little bit different, where most like adults are like, you know, they're doing things with their kids all the time, like going to theme parks or like traveling or and like that's what vacation is supposed to be. But for me, vacation is just hanging out. That's how I grew up, hanging out at the summer cabin and just like basically not doing anything, but doing a lot, but like nothing kind of pre-planned or, you know, that kind of stuff. So I really liked seeing that she liked that, because that's what we will be doing next year as well. But so I decided that August 1st, we're back on with a 30-day yoga challenge/journey. So if you want to join the Yoga Pirates and doing Move by Yoga with Adrian, you can check out my Twitter and just raise a hand and we'll give you some accountability. And then later in the fall, I'm guessing, or late in the fall, I would say, Queen Ray is going on tour. Woo! So, yeah, as I shared earlier, I've been accepted to speak at and hold a workshop at Modern Front Ends in London in November. And then I've also been accepted and also kind of invited to another really super exciting conference that I'm not allowed to reveal yet because it's not social media official, but I'll let you know as soon as it is. And then I got a DM yesterday from Will Sentence. Anyway, he is the guy behind JavaScript, the hard parts that you can find on Front End Masters that I did like a year ago. And I really enjoyed, and like I have some photos of me like drinking wine and with a candle and like watching this as like my nighttime binge watching. So my friend kind of joked a little bit around that, and then he DM'd me but I didn't realize it was him because the image, you know how you get DMs on Twitter and you're like, oh, I don't really know who this person is, but he's like, oh, do you want to talk to our alumni? And I thought it was like one of these code schools where, for career switchers or something. And I was like in my more like off time mode because this I was daytime, I guess, in the States, and it was like afternoon for me. And I realized I need to remember to like check myself because then I was like in, friend kind of chatty mode. So I was like, yeah, sure. Kind of like half-assing it a little bit. And then I was like, but who is this person? And I was like, oh my God, it's one of my heroes. But I kind of reeled it back in. So I'll be interviewed, or we're going to do a chat on his YouTube channel, I think, or his Code School's YouTube channel. And I checked out the last kind of like fireside chat or like interview style video that they have done. And it has like 2.3K people or views, which is a lot more than the Pirate Show gets. So that can be, that would be super interesting to see if that, we can get some new viewers over to our channel. And also, I think his Code School is more for upskilling. So there's a lot of people who are already in organizations that take kind of these workshops and stuff like that. And he mentioned that a lot of them are excited about Gatsby after the fact he mentioned that. So, maybe there's even some, potential Gatsby plugin maintenance clients in there. We'll hope. But anyway, I'll do it. I mean, it's like, it will basically be like a podcast type thing, just showing up as a guest. But yeah, I just have to remember. And even with Slack, like I need to remember that even though I'm on afternoon time, not everybody speaking to me are on afternoon time. So it could be good to just like spend 5 minutes before you fire off some kind of, afternoon response. But I guess that's the perils of a worldwide working. Oh, on that note, did I mention the Culture Map, the book, in any of the podcasts this summer? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so there's this book, The Culture Map, that I recommend that everybody who listens to our show reads, because I am imagining you work across border, or at least are in some Slack channels with people from other work cultures. And the book is all about how different cultures work differently and have different expectations, and where kind of the problems might arise when you do cross-border work. And she's kind of mapped out these different scales. So it's low context, high context is one of them. Like, is your culture one that will kind of over-explain things to make sure everybody's on the same map, and Americans are on high context? So that's why, their way of doing presentations as well is like, say the thing, or like, say what you're going to talk about, then talk about it, and then, summarize what you said, kind of style of talking, is a high context kind of culture way of communicating. And then there's also how you give negative feedback, and then also time, if 15 minutes late is late, on all those kinds of juicy topics. But the book is really well written. It's like got really clear recommendations, and there are some really fun stories. A lot of them are German American or German Japan. So I think you'd find it funny. There's also some French and Russian, like the larger countries, of course, are the most represented in her stories. But anyway, I recommend reading that book on the kind of like, you know, how you speak in Slack channels and how you professionally expect Twitter DMs to be. Like, she talks about those kinds of things. But back to the Gatsby plugin work that we are doing. So we finished up the Cloudinary initial project before the summer. We were hoping to get some beta testers, but we didn't really get any beta testers. So we decided to put it into production now that the summer vacation was over and we are here and able to monitor any issues that might arise. I've seen there have been some installs and nothing has arisen yet. So it seems like we're not, like, no big red flags have emerged from the work that we have done. And that has led me to work more on kind of a description of a ongoing maintenance and support for Gatsby plugin, like proposal that we can send out to more people, but Cloudinary will be the first to get it. And then hopefully other clients will get that as well. And my idea there is that we'll have one option, kind of the lowest option is where we're only in their GitHub repos and like answering and responding to anything that comes in kind of retroactively. And then we'll have the second option where we'll do more of kind of support anything they send our way. And then we'll translate it into GitHub issues or help their Gatsby users wherever that request came in. And then kind of the third and highest level option will be where we are more like proactively, more kind of advocacy like work, where we will kind of monitor Reddit and Twitter and all of these places and Stack Overflow for questions and help people, you know, more actively, retroactively. I can't even spoken too much Norwegian this summer. Anyway, so I'm trying to summarize those different options and pricing them. So that's what I'm working on this week, in addition to an initial proposal for a potential new client. Woo! So if we get both of these two clients and then get them over on, you know, if we have Cloudinary, if you get them over on ongoing basis, and then also this other client, we'll have two. And I only think we'll have room for 3 or 4 if we're going to do a really good job, depending on what option they choose, of course. If they all just do the GitHub option, then we'll have room for more customers. But if they go for the higher level options, we might not have room for that many. So let your friends know now is the time to contact us if they need to upgrade their Gatsby plugins, because version 5 will be coming sooner than we might think. So if you don't have support for version 4 already, then, you know, you need to get on that, or your friends need to get on that. So that was my little sales pitch.
Good job. Good job.
But the whole level the level of involvement there with being more on support was through that one sales call that we did where the person actually really wanted to offload Gatsby support, because they internally don't have that much Gatsby kind of experience or knowledge. So they find it hard to then help their customers again when they are using their plugin, because they often ask things that are Gatsby specific and for Gatsby best practices. And he was like, well, I would just love to be able to offload that onto somebody else and have them do all of those kinds of support requests instead of having to hire internally for all these different frameworks. So I feel like we're onto something. Like this is going to work. I think it's absolutely going to work. And it's so much fun being like an expert in a framework. I thought it would be boring to kind of focus, and everybody said it's not boring to focus. I didn't believe them. I have now focused, and it's not boring. It's kind of fun. So yeah, should have listened to advice earlier, I guess.
Surprise, the people are actually right.
Surprise, surprise. And then back to POW, which, like, you know, blew up before the summer, or the space blew up before the summer. And I didn't really harvest it that much. We got about 7 new customers in the last 3 months, but we're still stable at a little over 50 active customers. So we are losing people to churn. And I realized kind of in that where things blew up around kind of women's health, especially in America, that, and I talked about it, like POW kind of demands more seriousness and demands to be bigger than maybe I could make it. And that has kind of just made me stop doing anything, because I'm like, this is too big. It's too important. So I've decided to like actively just think of it. It's like this very like little side project. It's just going to be slow and steady. And then maybe I will actually be able to start doing work again instead of kind of giving into other people's kind of vision of what it could be, or like how I should, capitalize on the political discussions, or and just try and kind of keep it small, but keep it going for a long time, because I see people are searching for this now. We are climbing on some like search. I have some alerts from Href and stuff like that. So I think it might be possible to kind of have it as a little side project that can grow very slow and steady, and kind of more in the way that Michael also talked about, like just having it work for me in the way that feels good to me, instead of trying to like make it this thing that other people might think that it should become, or like I thought it should become when I was like, oh my God, this is too much. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. So we'll see how that goes, because then I can just like do a little bit, maybe every week when Lillian is back in school, that is, because I don't have time to that right now. Because if I can just lower the churn a little bit, then it will slowly grow. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good decision to make the decision to not try to capitalize on it, because I feel like you either go all in and like focus just on that, and I guess that's what's needed to capitalize on the current changes in the environment, or you're fine with not doing that and just like keeping it like it is, and like just deliberately keeping it as a side project and being fine with that. I guess the hardest part is being fine with that and just accepting the way it is. But making that decision is probably an important step to feel at peace with it.
Yes, and I think that's what I realized this summer, that I am actually at peace with it, because it's so much fun with the plugins, and I do believe that can be a sustainable business, that we won't depend on or need income from the side, like a side project like POW, because the plugin and the Gatsby Authority kind of business, Queen Ray, will generate enough money in the end to sustain us, and also in a way that is very suits our lifestyle very well and where we're at right now. Because what I realize now, with pushing out these Cloudinary updates into production, it's not live production. It's not like user lists, or POW, where suddenly you take down production. I mean, you release them to NPM, people have to install them, then they have to build their sites, and then they get errors, and then they can report those and decide not to upgrade. I mean, you still want to do good work, but it's not like you have to be on call if, for this kind of maintenance work. And I think that suits us really well, being a small company and wanting to stay just a family. Like, we don't want to be on call. And for POW, then keeping it small, and then if it suddenly turns out to become something bigger, like at that point you can decide to do something with it and get other people to be on call if that's needed. But with 50 customers, let's say we get like a couple of hundreds, it's still not going to be on call because it's not going to be the level that you are seeing now, where like if something goes down, you actually kind of need to fix it, otherwise you'll lose customers, right? Because it's mission critical for their companies. So I'm really happy. Taken me years, but now like this Queen business, it's really working to my advantage. It's like working on all of our strengths in the family, and I think we're gonna have fun like being in this space for a long time. And there's so much we could do within the space. Like we've talked about courses and books, and we can do all of those things. But if we get like 3 to 4 customers on ongoing support and maintenance plan, I think it will be very beneficial for them, because we'll be on top of their plugins all the time. They'll take the Gatsby community seriously. We can, they can offload support to us and all of that, but it still really fits in with our life. So I guess that's what I realized over the summer. So I'm antsy to get started, but I'm like not really, like I'm pretty satisfied with life.
That's good.
Or like my work-life balance, or integration, I guess, work-life integration that we have. Yeah.
That's kind of nice. I mean, that's everything. That's what we kind of all try to achieve, like just being happy and having a good like work-life balance in a way. Like, I hate the term, but still, yeah, it's so hard to know ahead of time, like what that actually looks like for you specifically.
It's so hard because you have to test it, and then you have to like let things go and let ideas about yourself or just the product or whatever, you have to like let it go because you realize that, oh, I didn't really enjoy those activities, or I didn't really enjoy what that did to my life. And then you happen to do things like streaming and you're like, I love it, even though I thought I'd never love it. So like giving or taking time to actually like test things out more than just thinking about them, because there's so many things that sounds fun like in your head, and then when you do them, you're like, but I don't really like the result of it, but I don't really enjoy the process of it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's like everybody wants to be. We talked about this before. You know, everybody wants to be in a band, but not everybody wants to practice. Like, if you hate practicing, then like maybe musician isn't your thing. And it's the same thing. Like, we all want the sass, but do we really want to be on call? Do we really?
Yep.
Yeah, so like finding a business that, but some people would love, like, you know, some people love, people love different things. So you need to, at least, we can't enjoy all of it though, because there's still, you know,
it's the
bills
work,
and
right?
There's like admin, and some people love admin, but they usually like end up working with that for others. But anyway, there's always like a little, but you should enjoy like a larger portion of the work you do. Otherwise, like, could be possible to find another business or another just angle on the business, right?
Yeah, but I guess letting go and like saying goodbye to your ideas and like your own vision of yourself, I guess that's the hard part. Like, knowing when it's time to move on and being okay with moving on. I guess that's the challenging part.
I think that vision of yourself is like even harder than letting go the ID or the product or the, like, you have this kind of identity. Like, I had like my coding identity that I couldn't let go of. I could not let go of being being looked at as the technical person. And with the Queen Ray Empire, we're going grand here. You know, that's what I am. I am the expert in something technical, and I can do a lot of non-technical activities, but it will all kind of surround around me being a technical expert. While with POW, I would have to become more of a business owner identity, I guess, or like a health advocate kind of identity if I was going to go make that into my, you know, full-time or main gig. And I couldn't deal with that. Like, I couldn't, like, I did not like that. And maybe I should, but then again, life is short, so maybe not, you know, let's do what is fun. And now I get to speak at large conferences around the world.
Let's see if that turns out to be as much fun as you envision it to be right now.
Oh, I've done it before, and I know that too many of them are not fun. So I'm being choosy and also trying to not have too many of them.
That's smart.
Yeah. But like earlier in the summer when we went to Larvik and met everyone that you know from the internet, and we could talk tech again, because then I could talk tech with them. But while I went to MicroConf, everybody wanted to talk about their fertility story. And I was like, I'm not really interested in your fertility story. I can actually, you know, it was just so much fun just hanging out with people that you enjoy talking to. And I had a blast at MicroConf too, by the way. But I just realized that, like, okay, I need this half of that and not the other half of it. Anyway, let's cut it at that. Some life discussions here at the end. Summer is coming to an end. School year is starting. It's always a fun time.
Yep. Well then, this was a good update. I guess we are back to the regular schedule, or do you still want to do like every other week?
I know, we'll do every week because I gotta get cracking.
Cool. Then I guess talk to you next week and see you around the interweb.
Absolutely.